Hi, and welcome back to the Rant. I'm your host, Matt Gordner. If last week's episode wasn't enough of an indication, I'll come right out and say it. I'm not a big fan of air travel. So here we go with part 2. Why are the airlines always trying to expedite the boarding process? You know what I'm talking about. The gate agent comes onto the loudspeaker and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of people to board today, so we're going to try to get this done as quick as possible. Please bear with us." What, are you surprised that people showed up for their flight? You would think that the airlines would have realized by now that it takes quite a bit of time to cram 150 people through one door into a 12-foot wide metal tube down an aisle that's about yay big with all of their carry-on. One of the reasons this takes so long is that there always seems to be an inadequate amount of overhead space. Way too often the gate attendant will be forced to ask for volunteers to check their bags all the way through to their final destination. And of course, no one wants this to happen to them because anyone who has flown before knows that this is just another way of the airlines saying, "We kindly ask for volunteers to let us greatly reduce the chances of you and your luggage getting to the correct final destination at the same time." Since no one usually wants to do this, and why would they resort to having all the boarding groups line up so they can have each individual person place their luggage into that pre-sized measuring thing. Because remember, we're trying to speed this process up. No, it fits. I promise. If I've done this many times. Yeah, you just gotta turn it around a little bit. Okay, Mary Poppins, why don't you and your magic bag take it up with customer service while the rest of us carry on with this asinine procedure? Why do people in first class want to board first? I will literally never understand this. You would think if you pay that much money for a plane ticket that you would want to wait till the last possible minute to get on the plane. And here's why. You sit down in your chair. It's spacious. It's peaceful. Perhaps the stewardess offers you a refreshing beverage while the other first class passengers find their seats. But remember, everyone else who has to get on this plane now has to come through that same door past you. The family with 18 different carry-on bags, one of which is just bound to swing around and hit you right in the face. That guy who by some miracle managed to convince the gate agent to let him take his industrial-sized, super large duffel thing onto the plane. Oh, don't worry, it's a duffel. It'll squish. If the diaper bag and the collapsible stroller didn't get you, this one will. Then there's that guy who can never seem to find his seat, so he has to wander back and forth, up and down the aisle, because his row seems to have sprung into another dimension. And of course, he will always end up in the wrong seat. "Sir, your ticket says 56E. Really? I don't know how I misread that for 7A. Shit, I didn't think they would notice. Then there's the crying baby. Every flight has to have a crying baby. Where are all these babies going? I'm usually thankful if my flight only has one. Remember that guy with the ridiculously oversized duffel bag? Yeah, he's about 30 rows down now trying to rewrite the rules of geometry as he crams all of his into the overhead. I don't know how you convinced the gate person to let you on with that, but whatever you're trying to finagle up there does not have the 75 other people behind you in line convinced. And since the line has now stopped moving, you're now just sitting in your first class seat with a nice big middle-aged ass in your face. You're stuck there, helpless, just at ass level. How does that refreshing beverage taste now? Eventually you're going to get someone who's stuck behind the geometry magician to say, "This guy, I'm making the move around the clog in the aisle to continue on down." Which of course is a green light for everyone else behind the clog to make the move. Now you have this guy who's still trying to cram his in the overhead, but he's being slowly dragged away by the current of other impatient passengers. "I can do it! I just need some time! I can get it out! I can get it in there!" Honestly, it's a miracle that any flight has ever arrived on time. Well, that's all we have for this week's episode. So if you're watching this and you're in charge of, let's say, an airline company, I have some suggestions for you because it's not going that well.